This podcast is presented by StreamerCollabs.com, a website made by streamers for streamers. StreamerCollabs.com helps streamers find, connect, and grow their channels by collaboration. We believe that collaboration is key to unlocking the full potential of the streaming community, and we strive to provide the tools and resources needed to make that happen. So join us today and let's make a difference together on StreamerCollabs.com.
All right, welcome back to the Streamer Collabs podcast. I'm Buzz, aka Charles. Yeah, you can keep the dead silence in. Keep the dead silence
I will.
AKA the Big Buzzy Wuzzy. And today I'm here with my co-host,
the Big Infamous, aka David. And today our special guest is
Sven from Crit and Miss Role Playing Games.
Damn.
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes,
Sven,
sir.
how you doing today, man?
Yeah, not too bad. Nice early morning for me, 5:30 in the morning. But I'm nothing if not committed. So here we are.
Nice, man.
Appreciate that, man.
Appreciate you being here, man. Again,
When you told us it was 5:30 in the morning, I was like, golly. Like me personally, I'm not a morning bird. I'm like not even a night owl. I'm like an afternoon bird.
Like a daytime kind of guy.
Yeah.
I'm just a daytime kind of guy.
12 o'clock.
Yeah. To say that this is a rare occurrence for me is an understatement. I'm not usually a morning guy. I'm not usually an evening or afternoon guy. I'm whenever I decide to wake up kind of guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I felt like this was worth getting up for. Haven't had an energy drink or anything yet, so sitting here, completely decaffeinated.
Golly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Respect.
Respect.
Not usually my MO, but like I said, I was pretty excited to be here. So I feel like that should be enough energy for me to get through the morning. Straight back to bed after
bro.
this.
Yeah, man. We're excited to have you, man. Yeah. Honestly, let's hop into the questions for real.
So
Right.
Yeah, go ahead. You got the first one.
I wanted to ask, because we talked a little bit about this before the podcast, because you guys who are watching at home or listening at home, we do a little bit of talking before so we can get to know folks. But you talked a little bit about doing role-playing games, like Dungeons and Dragons and shit. Because I see you got the die, the 16-sided die right there. So
exactly
Nope.
that's how we got started with streaming in the first place. I started my streaming experience on a mate's channel for Authentic Gaming. And I was DMing, which is running a D&D game for them on his channel. But like all tabletop RPGs, if you're experienced with playing D&D or any other tabletop RPG, like the biggest killer for those games is scheduling conflicts. So we had scheduling conflicts between everyone. So we couldn't make it work. So it sort of fizzled out like a lot of games do. But I was like, I love doing this. So I was like, I'm going to start my own channel. I'm going to bring on board like my own people. And I think that was 2021, something like that.
okay.
And, ever since then, like any real nerd, you can't do anything in half measures. You dive headfirst into it. And you can't just do one thing. You got to do everything. So that's where I find myself at the moment. It's just tearing my hair out, organizing these streams. But I love doing it.
I can imagine that's really maybe stressful. What would you say it is? Because like I'm imagining you said up to like 8 people per game, right?
Yeah. So generally speaking, our streams go for 5 to 8 or 7 people, something like that. I think the biggest campaign we've got at the moment is 6. No, it's actually 7 players and 1 DM. So 8 people on every stream, and to try and manage all of those. Like all of those schedules at the same time. And we have multiple people producing. So I've got to make sure that the people producing those episodes have all of the materials that they need. I've got to make sure that, I'm reviewing every single episode and giving feedback and making improvements. Because unfortunately, I also happen to be quite a perfectionist. So if we've got like something like a tiny little graphic that's out of place, like I'm straight on the email and emailing them and messaging them to make sure that it gets fixed up. And I don't blame them, because like, it's not easy to do. It's one thing to sit down and to just stream,
Yeah.
It's another thing entirely. Like, it's a whole different beast when you've got multiple different people. And I make all of my overlays and graphics and logos and all that kind of stuff myself. And that perfectionist comes out of me. I've got to try and get every single little detail. So at the end of the day, I'm kind of doing it to myself. So I have no one really to complain to. So it is what it is, Yeah. Yeah.
And the logo is sick. I gotta admit that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta let you know, man. That
Shout out
like
to
nice,
that.
nice shit.
Yeah,
Good shit on
yeah.
the logo, man.
The original logo I got made by someone over in Canada, I believe. There was a guy, I think he did some graphic design work for Ubisoft and all that kind of stuff. I was like, I'm looking for someone to make a logo. He did that. He did it up. He did a fair price for it and everything, and it was good. Don't get me wrong, I loved it, and it served as our brand for a while. But when we came back for 2024, I was like, no, we need a brand update. This is no longer serving our purpose. So I jumped on. I made this one. It was like a few months in the making to try and get the absolute right thing.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be. I know a lot of tabletop RPG, D&D channels. They all sort of have a very similar aspect, a very similar look and feel about them, and I didn't want to be just another D&D channel. You know what I mean? I wanted it to stand out. I wanted it to be a little bit more than just, here's a dragon or a 20-sided dice and, with some kind of fun wordplay or something like that. No, I wanted it to represent not only like our vision for the brand, for the channel, but like I wanted it to represent like my personality, which is a little bit more alternative, generally speaking, than what most people are in our community. But I think it works. I really enjoy it, and it's like it pops. I think I got the color right at least.
No, I love the green and the purple, man. That shit. It's iconic. Green and purple is just iconic.
It is. It really works. And like I said, it was a whole back and forth with different members of our community, because we have a pretty, I wouldn't say a big community, but a pretty lively community. Everyone's very into the games. Like I said, we've got multiple people running different games. So I myself, even though I am the community manager, I am accountable to all the other members of the community. So I touched base with a lot of the big names on the channel and got their opinions on things, and then I completely ignored their opinions and just made my own thing anyway. So that's how we ended up with this. I keep pointing to the wrong side, but
I do the same thing. I'll be like, my co-host, and the one time I point, it's in the right direction, but usually I'm like, my co-host. But
yeah, I'm forever doing that. There's gonna be 5 different people on the stream, and I'm like, Ali, who's like over there somewhere.
Definitely on the screen for sure.
Exactly. Definitely on the screen somewhere. Yeah, you usually got the multi-screen
Ali,
set up, and
right there.
Yeah. Wherever you are, eventually I'll get it right. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So was D&D the first thing that you streamed ever?
Yes, it was actually. D&D was the first thing that we streamed. It is still it's our main go-to. I think D&D, we got a new campaign starting this Saturday. So including that one, we've got Kaleidoscope of Conflict, we've got Beware the Witching Hour, we've got Renegades, Rogues, and Runaways. We have World Render. So we have 4 D&D campaigns currently running every week. And we have a Cyberpunk Red actual play, which is
let's talk
very
Cyberpunk,
similar.
Bro. Let's talk Cyberpunk.
It's very similar to D&D. It's a completely different system, but it's a dice-based system, and it's set in the same universe as Cyberpunk 2077. Which is pretty cool.
I enjoy pretty cool.
Very cool, incredibly
one of the greatest games of all time.
Wasn't the game was based off the board game, because the board game came first, right? Like years ago.
Yeah, that's right. I think what was the first one called? I can't remember, but they've had various iterations of Cyberpunk, and I think it's every 10 years or something they do an updated version of it. It was Cyberpunk 2022, and then Cyberpunk Red is the current iteration of the board game or the tabletop RPG. And then Cyberpunk 2077, the developers, CD Projekt Red, they got in touch with them.
Shout out them.
And they were like, can we make a video game in that sort of setting?
Cool. Thank God.
They were like, okay.
Thank God, man.
Could I have one moment to?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, man.
Of course.
I'll be right back.
Worries,
Sorry about that.
Yeah, you're fine.
That's why we do it. That's why we record.
That's why we record, bro.
That's why we record. Snip this out, you know what I'm saying?
As soon as because I looked at the answers to the questions that when you click on the link, it shows the questions we ask and the answers to that. Cyberpunk. I saw Cyberpunk and I was like, Cyberpunk, that shit. Cyberpunk is my shit, bro. I've never played the board game. I was introduced to Cyberpunk through the game, obviously. I say obviously, but most people probably knew it. I'm just, out the loop. But the game is so
that
good.
game is spanking, bro. That game is good, bro.
Good.
That game is good, bro.
Have you played 2077, the video game?
I have. Yeah. I recently I picked it back up. Sorry, I got in trouble for being too loud. I think I've got a bedroom right behind me, so I need to be a little bit more quiet. I get in trouble for that every single time. No, it's just me because I'm like, this is how I talk. And then as soon as we go live, I just get too excited. I start yelling. So I'm going to be a little bit more quiet now. But yeah, no, I recently picked Cyberpunk 2077 back up again because I got a new PC very recently. So I was like, what can I run to really test this beast out? So I was like, Cyberpunk 2077, and man, it is phenomenal. I played it when it first came out, way back when on Xbox. Terrible decision. Terrible thing to do.
Terrible thing to do.
Terrible. I wouldn't recommend it. That's not to say that I didn't enjoy it because CD Projekt Red, and they know how to craft a story, as well as anyone else. The world writing, and they really having played Cyberpunk Red now. And dove into that source material that they have for that, I can say that they took what Mike Pondsmith wrote and just ran with it, whilst also staying true and loyal to that source material.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of stuff there. It's very in depth with the lore. If you look it up, you can find whole alternate histories for every single different country in the world. It's absolutely phenomenal. And what they did with 2077, I just finished the what's it called? The
DLC?
Phantom
DLC.
Liberty?
Yeah, that's one. Phantom Liberty.
I still have to. I
haven't gotten there yet. I haven't gotten there yet.
No spoilers.
No spoilers.
But it is
Jeez.
phenomenal. I haven't. It hit me right in the feels. You know what I mean? And I haven't felt that in a video game. Yeah. I haven't felt that in quite some time because I'm quite cold-hearted these days. The world has really crushed me. So
that's real as fuck, man. That's real as fuck. Let's hear that's real, bro. Hard as cold, bro.
Wow.
Yeah. So when you're DMing or being a GM or whatever you want to call it for tabletop games, you have to be cold, man, because you're making decisions that are killing people's players, or killing players' characters rather, that they've grown really attached to. So you gotta have a heart of ice to be able to do that kind of thing. And I really enjoy it. But no, Cyberpunk 2077 is phenomenal. And now I got the 4090 graphics card. You can bump everything up to ultra, and there's one setting that's actually called Psycho, which I quite enjoy. So that's bumped all the way up there. And it's a completely different game.
With the 4090, can you use ray tracing?
Yes, absolutely.
At a high level, though.
Yes.
Yeah. And the game runs at 60 FPS?
and the game will run at 60 FPS. If you use DLSS, if you're doing like native 4K, you're probably gonna not expect 60 frames per second. And I only do 2K, so 1440p as opposed to 4K because I don't have a 4K monitor. I don't really think that's overly necessary for what I do, but you know, a 4090 probably isn't really necessary for what I do either. But you know, every now and then you got to treat yourself, right?
Yeah, of course. Especially to a 4090. That shit is gas.
Yeah, I had to do it. I was running my old PC was still running everything just fine. Not everything maxed out, but most things. But I felt like I do a little bit of video editing as well. I needed the extra processing power because the editing process was a little bit too slow for my liking. Yeah, that was a big way I sold it to my partner. It was like, I need it for video processing. She's like, okay, you can grab it. And I was like, yay. And now I'm sitting here and I'm playing Cyberpunk 2077 with ray tracing on and all that kind of fun stuff. And it is, it's just like, it's a whole different experience. Like it's like almost like a whole different game from when I previously played it to now. And I sort of ran it side by side on one PC and the other PC, and the difference is noticeable. I'm not usually the kind of person who says like, you know, graphics are like the main sell for me. But you know, everyone enjoys a little bit. Everyone enjoys a little bit of eye candy, right?
Exactly. I like to look. I gotta look at it. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, if I'm gonna be here for 12 hours, like,
if I'm pulling a 12-hour session, you know what I'm saying? I gotta take care of the eyes, man.
Do you play any?
It's like,
oh, go ahead.
It's like one of those games, a lot like tabletop RPGs, where like you can just get lost. Like you know what your objective is supposed to be, but like you'll find some interesting little detail in the corner of some fucking back alley somewhere. Sorry, I don't know if I'm supposed to swear on that.
Bro. You it's all good. It's cool.
It's all good.
I should double check before I do. Anyway, and you know, and the next minute you spent 8 hours just wandering off and doing like side content. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's one of those games.
It's an excellent game. Do you play any tabletop Warhammer?
No, I never got into Warhammer. Like for me, what I really enjoyed about D&D was like the performing aspect of it a little bit. I've always, when I was younger at least, like I said, the world crushed it out of me when I left school. When I was younger, I was like a little bit of a theater kid, I suppose, you know, and you know, black fingernails probably gives that away a little bit, but you don't really have that traditionally with Warhammer tabletop gaming. It's more like that tactical aspect, which is a little bit less, that interests me a little bit less. Like I'm not overly interested if, you know, one thing is 32 inches or 33 inches away from another thing, or if it does 350 points of damage or 360. That's not really what interests me. What interests me more so is like the role-playing aspects. But these days, the stories, exactly. Collaborative storytelling is like the biggest part of what we do. I think that's the most important part of what we do. I know that a lot of these things have like very crunchy rule systems and all that kind of stuff, but that doesn't really interest me. I'm more like, I just want to tell a story with my buds, and the rules have to sort of, they have to sort of assist that, make that happen. But these days, even, you know, Warhammer 40K, they have their own role-playing game systems as well. There's Wrath and Glory and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not against diving in. I always find like Warhammer is like the WWE of role-playing games, and sometimes you just want to dial the ridiculousness up to like 100% and dive straight in. So like I have been talking to a couple of people about maybe bringing some Warhammer content onto the channel. I've always wanted to do it because I just love the over-the-top ridiculousness of it a little bit. So who knows, in the future I might actually be able to make that happen. So
I'll keep an eye out for it, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
Keep your eyes on this channel, and who knows, might pop up.
Crit_N_miss for those of y'all who are listening. Just a shout out, just for those of y'all who are listening.
Yep.
I don't want anybody to be like, well, I don't know because I can't, I'm listening to it on Spotify. They don't sound like that. It's just like that's how they sounded in this one instance.
The one guy sounded. The one guy.
There's probably one.
That's how they all sound in my head as well. Don't worry.
The one guy listening sounds like, hey, wait a minute.
hey, hold on.
But for our next and maybe final question, what's the biggest struggle you've dealt with while creating content and running well, you said it was really working around time schedules.
Yeah.
But has there been anything else that's been difficult? Because I know, at least from my limited understanding, because I've known people who play D&D as dungeon masters. I think that's what they're called, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, because they have to like craft stories and stuff and like write up quests and shit. Is that correct? Or do you just...
Yeah.
So
wow.
Is that hard? I feel like that's pretty hard. Like, yeah.
It is. It's very, very difficult. And like I said, like any nerd out there, you can't do anything in half measures. There's pre-written adventures and pre-written campaigns that you can sort of pick up and just play, and most of the content's already like there.
Yeah.
But there's so many things in the peripherals that you have to organize. Especially when you are a perfectionist like I am, you've got to have the maps, you've got to have your notes written out, because even though this campaign is written out, the whole selling point of D&D and tabletop RPGs is like freedom to be able to do whatever you want to do, which, computer games give you a little bit of that, but there's always limitations.
Yeah.
Tabletop RPGs are all about that freedom. Do whatever you want to do, go wherever you want to go, say whatever you want to say. And you can never anticipate 100% what people are going to do. So as a DM, it's definitely a struggle trying to stay ahead of whatever just random chaos that your players are going to come up with at any one point of time. I've gotten pretty good at it, but even like, because I'm such a perfectionist, I have to write my own stories. I'm so excited to bring these stories to people that I sit here and I spend far too much time. And I'm a father of 2 kids, and I have a full-time job and all that kind of stuff. So I'm doing this in my own time on the side while still trying to, have a life. But that's definitely probably the biggest struggle is, finding the time to be able to sit down. Like, quite often I'll be at work or whatever, and a good idea pops into my head, and I'm pulling out my phone and I'm writing it down. But yeah, that's probably one of the biggest struggles for me as a content creator, is just actually creating that content for people to enjoy. So
building that world that everybody's gonna like enjoy it. That's
like
exactly
said, being able to react to whatever the characters and the players come up with, because I've heard some pretty ridiculous scenarios. They'll be like,
oh, absolutely,
I had a water balloon at so and so, and it's like, okay, I guess we're rolling for water balloon.
I had a player, and like, dead serious. It's like my partner, actually, because we play together sometimes. She's like, they just had a gunfight. This was Cyberpunk Red. It was Neomagnetic, and they just had a gunfight, and someone's arm happened to be severed during the gunfight. She was like, I want to cover up our tracks here. I've got a makeup kit. Can I use my makeup kit to make it look like this was an old injury, like he's never had an arm? I'm like,
interesting.
You know what? Yeah. What do I do? Like, I guess. Have you ever tried try and think about like how you would use like an average cosmetic makeup kit to try and
I'm thinking of the little flip up thing
with the little mirror and the little brushes.
So I have a policy of I have to try and yes and everything that people say, and never be like, no, you can't do it. So I was like, yeah, you can do it, but I'm gonna set the difficulty value for this like really high. So high difficulty value for this is like 24. I was like, she's never gonna hit that. She rolls. She's like, I got 26. I was like, oh,
Okay.
Fuck.
Cool.
Okay.
I guess the makeup works, man.
Yes, looks like an old one, bro.
Looks like an old a war wound, so sure, why not?
Nice, man.
Those are the kinds of things that you got to try and anticipate when you're crafting these worlds. I think I do an all right job at it, but yeah, I enjoy it after all. The dice kind of help you craft the story, and it sort of it makes these things happen that you would never come up with on your own, and that's what's so special about tabletop RPGs, D&D, Cyberpunk Red, all those kind of things. So yeah.
Cool.
Damn. That's very interesting. I've always been like fascinated with DB or not DBD, but was it tabletop
D&D.
RPGs, D&D.
Yeah.
And it's like it's such an interesting like concept to me, but I what I'm saying, I don't really got anybody to like play with, so it's like I'll just like look it up and like watch the shit, and like it's sick as fuck to like see somebody like streaming it. I had no idea people streamed it, so yeah, I'm definitely gonna hit a follow on that and like watch you guys, because
there's quite a few channels actually that that have done so quite successfully. Obviously, Critical Role, for instance, they started on YouTube. Now they have their own Twitch channel and they do like phenomenal numbers. My personal favorite, the Glass Cannon podcast, they started off as a podcast. Now they do live streams, live shows, YouTube, all that kind of stuff. And there's a huge community. It used to be very, very niche. You know what I mean? It was mostly, guys with neck beards and ponytails in their mother's basement. Now it's sort of expanded beyond that to include like a very just a very wide range of people. It's very inclusive. It's very well represented. And it's just such an amazing like community. Like when I started streaming, for instance, we had someone who I'd never met before in my life. She just jumped on and she was like, "Hey, can I mod for your channel?" Because I do this for a whole bunch of different tabletop RPG channels. And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And that's just the kind of people that you meet in this community. Is people just want to like give, not because they're getting anything back out of it, not for their own benefit, but just to build this community. 10 years ago, you would never have seen people sitting down on a stage playing tabletop RPGs for the entertainment of other people. But I've done that now. I've been up on that stage and I've done that, and we had a good audience and people were engaged, and it's not niche anymore. It's not something that you have to hide. It used to be, should I tell people that I play tabletop RPGs? Are they going to think I'm a devil worshipper, or anything like that? No, it's not like that. It's been on Stranger Things. It's a bit more in the public consciousness now. It's a bit more mainstream.
A lot more folks are, there. It's like you said, it's less people looking at it like nerds, more like you said, it's a wide range of people are able to get into it.
It's a wide range of people, and you'd be surprised like what kind of people are interested in doing this. You have this picture in your head that, like I said, it's like people in their mother's basements, but it's not, man. It's like successful people, athletic people who come from a wide range. Like sometimes I say to people, look, I play D&D or I run tabletop RPGs, and they're like, I've always wanted to do that. And I'm like, wow, really? They're like, yeah, I have. And I'm like, well, let's just do it. Like, just do it. It's still, there's a little bit of a barrier to get over to get into D&D. I find like a lot of publishers are doing a lot to bring that barrier down, to make it more accessible for more people, because that's probably the biggest thing that I hear from people is that they're interested in it, they want to do it, they just don't know how to start. But they're making that a lot easier for people to do now. They've got beginners kits and essential kits and all that kind of stuff that you can just pick up and play. You don't even need to have 4 or 5 people anymore. You can do it with 2 people if you wanted to. It's great. And if anyone is interested, if they want to join our Discord, we're always planning and new campaigns and all that kind of stuff, and anyone's welcome to join. Like I said, it's a very inclusive and a very supportive community. We're always collaborating and doing different crazy stuff, so you're more than welcome to join us if you want. And
Absolutely.
Nice, man. Nice. Well, that was about it for those questions. We do usually ask a few silly Billy questions.
Silly
all right.
Yeah, but I'll ask you this one, and then we can let you go. Yeah. But let me see which one. Okay. All right, bet. Would you rather clog the toilet during a job interview or on a first date?
I'm gonna go with job interview. I'm gonna go with job interview for that one. Yeah,
Okay.
there's I guess for me, I'm a qualified mechanical fitter. I don't know if they have a similar thing over where you guys are, but basically like a mechanic, but not for cars, for everything else. So it's kind of
nice.
Clogging the toilet's probably a little bit more accepted in the workplace in the workplaces where I work, at least. And you can always blame a different a coworker, right? Or
like, yo, I just saw bro walk out that stall not 5 minutes ago. Like,
wasn't me, man.
Exactly. But if it's a date, it's more personal. There's only two people on that date, so you can't blame it on someone else. You can't say the dog did it or something like that.
The thing is, bro, like if they figure out, if they know it's you, you got to sit them down and be like, yo, babe, I like you a lot. I'm a real shitter. I'm
a real shitter right here.
I'd be pooping, bro. So like, and if they're cool with that, then you got to
That's a rider, bro. That's a rider.
That's a rider.
That's love. That's
true love right there, man.
Like, legitimately, that is love. Love is unclogging someone's toilet for them.
You can write that down. You can write that down somewhere. Love is unclogging someone's toilet for them.
Love is unclogging someone's toilet, bro.
That's deep. That's real. That's gonna end up in some romance handbook somewhere out there. Maybe Will Smith will say it in his next movie. I don't know.
Unclogging the toilet, babe. Thanks, Will Smith. Like,
shout out Will Smith.
But, didn't he played a role where he was like a love counselor or something?
Yeah, that was
maybe they'll make a sequel.
It was a great movie, actually. Fuck, what was it called?
I can't remember.
Oh my god, I want to look it up. Will Smith.
I'll be lying in bed later on today and be like, oh, that's what it is.
It was Hitch.
Hitch. Okay,
it was a great movie. It was a great movie.
That's right. Right? That was good. Yeah. But
yeah, man.
That was it for the questions. Yeah, that was it for the questions. For the I know you have your socials on screen, but for those listening on the Spotify, do you have anything you wanted to plug?
Nah, man. Like, if you want to check us out on Twitch, you can find us at twitch.tv/crit_n_miss, and you can find us on social medias at critmiss. And if you find us on Twitch, you're going to find us pretty much everywhere. So
there you go.
If you could give us a follow, sub, comment, whatever the kids do on their socials these days, do all that kind of stuff. Yeah. It really helps us grow as a community. And if you want to become part of that community, we're more than welcome to do so. We'd love to have you on board.
Absolutely, man.
Cool.
But yeah, thank you so much for sitting down with us today, bro. I appreciate
no problem.
You. I'm gonna go ahead. This is your interview, bro. We're here to talk to you now.
Sorry, no, I was just saying. Yeah, no, thank you for having me. Like, I'm always I have an open door policy. If you want to have us on again, just send us an email. You know where to find me. I love doing these kind of things. I don't know if you can tell, but
no, we can. No, I can tell. Yeah, you're very passionate about it. I was sitting here just like. Someone who has very little to no experience with D&D, it was like you were breaking it down in a way that was like, oh, I get it. That makes sense.
In a very engaging way, honestly. Very engaging. Yeah. So well done. Yes. Well, you did great.
You did good. You did good. You passed.
You passed.
A solid C+ on the report card.
Hey man, C's get degrees. C's get degrees, bro. All I need is that 70, bro. Well, the grading system in the United States is worse because like a 70 is like a B over in England, for example. But whatever.
Mhm. I don't even know what our grading system is anymore these days, to be honest. And I've got 2 kids, so I should probably find out what it is.
Hey man, as long as they're passing, bro. As long as they're passing.
Yep.
As long as they're going to school every day, I'm pretty happy with that. I always say that
as long as they're there.
As long as they're there, you know what I'm saying?
And my eldest is actually starting a D&D club at his school.
Oh, that's awesome!
As
Nice.
well. Yeah. So I'm trying to support that as much as possible. I've let him borrow all my source books and bring those and do all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's
nice, man.
It's freaking cool.
That is freaking cool.
That's a good spot, man. Well, thank you for sitting down with us today, man.
Yeah, no problem at all.
Appreciate
Thank you for having me.
Of course, yeah. And this has been Mr. Crit and Miss, or rather, you can do your own intro because I don't want to steal the spotlight from you. So I was like, I was saying you could do the intro. You could do like your name because I shouted you out, and then I was like, he's here. He can. Shout him out.
Yeah.
No, you're good, man. You're good.
Yeah, no, this has been Crit and Miss Role Playing Games. Thank you again for having us, and may all your 20s be natural, and we'll see you again next time.
Excellent. Yeah, man. Y'all take care. I'm Buzz.
I'm Infamous.
Big Buzzy Wuzzy.
And I'm still Infamous. And see you guys in the next one. Peace.